my name is Kat and this is Medicine for the Soul Yoga. So today we have our class 13 of our Journey to Crow series. So we're now trying to engage the core to think about really lifting up the feet. We've got our alignment, we've got our solid base, and now we really want that height and that lift. So we're going to be activating the core using specific exercises to help us, and then having a go at some crow pose as well. So I hope you're all ready. Let's get going. So we're going to start in wide leg child's pose today. Bringing the toes together, sinking the hips back towards the heels, and let the hands slide forward. So we're really working on core activation today to help us feel a lift when we practice. So just at the moment, feeling that stretching of the back of the shoulders, but also of the core. So really lengthening out the body. Breathing through the nose, in and out, through the nose, down into the belly. I love this variation of child's pose, as it gives us room for the belly to really lead the breath. So really make the most of that space. Feeling the belly inflating like a balloon with every inhale. Just taking this moment to connect with the breath, connect with this moment, and connect with your practice. And we'll bring the palms of the hands up, so we're just on the fingertips, and we're going to look up towards the hands, sink the hips a bit further back if you can, and we're going to walk the hands over to the right, land the left hand over the right, feel the lovely length. Keep the hips pushing back, good. We'll draw ourselves back to center, big inhale. And exhale, walk over to the left, right hand over left. Melting the chest down. Inhale back up to center, really good. As we exhale, we're going to roll, bring the hands down and roll ourselves up. Keeping the knees apart in this kind of cat-cow position with the knees apart. So as we inhale, we'll roll the shoulders, look up, lift the chin. As we exhale, we'll push out the hands round the back, really draw the tailbone in. Inhale, arching, roll the shoulders, look up. Good. Exhale, rounding, draw the tailbone underneath, draw the chin in. This time we'll exhale, sink the hips back, slide the hands forward again. Inhale, rolling up. This time we're going to dip the hips slightly. So we're really lengthening out the core. Exhale, we'll push back. So flow with the breath. Inhale, we're rolling forward and then let the hips fall. Lift the chest. Exhale, push back, hips towards the heels. Feeling it in the inside of the hips as well. Release the forehead. Last time, inhale, rolling forward. This time, option, maybe it feels natural to let the feet lift. We can allow the hips to sink a bit deeper, make sure the shoulders are drawing back, elbows are hugging in. As we exhale, we can roll back. As we inhale, roll forward, option to roll onto the knees, really let the hips sink here. And exhale, rolling back. Really good. This time we're going to inhale, roll forward, bringing the knees in. We're going to tuck the toes and find our downward facing dog. Pedaling out the heels. So waking up the back of the legs, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, breathing deeply through the nose. Connect with the breath in this moment. We're going to flow with the breath again. So we're going to inhale, roll ourselves forward, shoulders over wrists, and we're going to hover the knees above the mat. The knees are below the hips, hovering the knees a couple of inches along the mat. Take a big inhale here, and then exhale, push the hips back. So we're waking up the core now. Inhale, rolling forward, shoulders over wrists. Bring the knees down, having a flat back. Just hovering a few inches off the mat. Big inhale here. Exhale, push back, really good. One more time, inhale, rolling forward. Bring the knees down on an exhale. Inhale, And exhale, push back. Really good. Pedal out the heels. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to add on a little extra pose. Inhale, roll forward. Exhale, bring the knees down, just hovering. Inhale here. Exhale, let the knees fall completely down. We're going to come into a half push-up. So bring the chest down, keep the elbows hugging in. And inhale, come back up. And then exhale, push back to downward dog. One more time. Inhale, rolling forward. Exhale, hovering the knees. Inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees. Good. Come into our push-up, elbows hugging in. Good. And then push back to downward facing dog. Really good. Warming up the body. We'll walk the hands back towards the feet and have a bend in the legs. Keep the upper body really relaxed. We can hold onto each elbow with the opposite hand and let yourself gently sway side to side. Good. We're going to place the hands on the mat in front of us. And we're going to, with the fingers spread, check in that your fingertips are engaged, whites of the fingertips on the mat. We're going to push out the ground with the hands. Imagine you want to just stand on your hands and take all the weight off your feet. It's quite a subtle energy kind of movement change. Seeing how that feels. If you can, maybe tapping the toes towards the back of the arms. You might not be able to get the feet off the mat, but it's that same idea. And notice what's going on with the core. We're squeezing in the core to suck up the legs, squeeze up and find height. It's that same feeling of engaging the core and drawing ourselves up that will help us lift off the toes. That is what we're working on now. We've got the alignment, now we're working on the lift. Good. Bending into the legs, we'll walk the hands forward. Coming back to our downward facing dog. Exhale fully here. Inhale, roll forward. Exhale, hover the knees. Option to stay here or option to move the knees with me. And that same core activation hugs the knees up and we try to tap the knees towards the elbows. We want the knees to lift as high as possible, so aim for as high as you can, maybe even up towards the arms. And as you move the legs up, that's when you really feel the core. That's when you squeeze the belly button into the spine. We're going to do one more time each side. If you're moving with me, you're doing really well. Good, and we'll all rest with our knees down for a moment. Push the hips back. Release the forehead down and just relax the shoulders. Relax the hands as well. They've taken quite a lot of weight. And just take a moment to bring yourself back to the breath. And we'll gently lift the forehead up, slide the hands back. Roll the shoulders here. Little neck release here. Just making sure that we're not storing any tension in the neck, so just let the forehead gently roll side to side. Good. Perfect. So we're going to come into crow pose, but we're really going to focus today on engaging the core and allowing the core to help us. And we're going to challenge ourselves to lift our toes off a bit more. We'll all be at different levels though, so do listen to where you're at today. So first of all, we'll just wake up the wrists a little bit. And you know by now what kind of wrist movements feel good for your wrists. Really just warming up the joints, so any kind of movement here is fine. And we'll come into our low yogi squat. We'll just say hello to the inside of the thighs, the hips. Let the knees really travel down and out when they come to one side. So we're really opening the hip. Let the heel lift and you feel it in that inside of the hip. As we come to the other side, let the knee open and out. Feel that in the hip. Letting the toes lift, letting the heels lift. Breathing deeply through the nose. Good. Sinking the hips down, we'll come into our crow pose. So fingers spread, middle fingers pointing forward. We want to lift the hips, bring the toes slightly in. Looking forward, this feeling of real height. Engage the core now, so squeeze the belly button into the spine. We're rolling the elbows outwards, so the inside crease of the elbows are pointing forward. This means when we bend the arms, the elbows go directly back and not out to the side. So directly back with the arms, make a gentle shelf. Lift up the heels, squeeze the knees onto the outside edges of the arms. Lift the chest, look forward. And a key thing here to getting a bit more height is to squeeze the elbows in. So notice as you lean forward, squeeze the elbows in. How does that lift the hips? And in turn, lifting the hips takes the weight off the toes. So we really want to hug the elbows in. First of all, we could draw one toe slightly further into center line than the other. This also will make it easier to lift up the toes. Keep the chest lifting, engage the core now. And that same feeling we had before where we were tapping the knee or tapping the toes on the wrists, we're going to squeeze the core and do the same thing here. Maybe even hovering, maybe tapping the other. So really test yourself and use the fingers as well. So we're using the core, we're using our fingers, engaged on the mat, the fingertips are white, resting as you need. To rest, it's quite nice to come into a wide leg child's pose and just walk the hands forward and slightly lean back. Take a few deep breaths here. We'll come into our crow pose again. If you would like, if you feel like that's enough for today, then rest in child's pose. Or if you want to really work on your core, you can come into plank. It's your practice, so really do make this your own and what works for you in this moment. If you're coming in with me again, remembering lifting up the hips. We want height. We want to hug the elbows, wrap them underneath and get that lift. Squeeze the belly button into the spine. Really focus on the core. So a lot of crow pose is not about strength, it's about alignment. It's about squeezing and hugging everything up. Focus on the breath. Doing your toe taps if that's where you're at today. Maybe experimenting with hovering. Remembering to breathe. And we'll gently come down, bending into the legs. Lift up the hips. Good, releasing the upper body down. Take a few deep breaths here. Good, we'll walk the hands forward. Coming into our downward facing dog, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Take a few nice deep breaths here. We're going to do an exercise that's a really great core activation exercise. You may have done it before. And it's from downward facing dog. Fingers need to be really spread, engaged on the mat. We're going to inhale, lift up the right leg. And as we exhale, bring the shoulders over the wrists. And we're going to tap the right knee towards, we say normally the right elbow, but today I want you to focus on trying to bring it up to where we have our knee in crow pose. So up towards almost the outside edge of the armpit. Use the core to find that squeeze up and then bring the leg back. Good, so we're going to come forward. Squeeze the knee, squeeze the core. Push out the hands round the shoulders. Inhale up. Good, one more time. Coming forward. Pushing out of the shoulders. We want that rounded top of the shoulders. This feeling of real height. And gently back. Good. Bring the right leg down. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, we'll come forward. So we're really working to the core, the hips and the shoulders in this exercise. Inhale back. Exhale, come forward. Squeeze the knee. How high can you get the knee? I bet you can get it a bit higher. Really good. Come back. One more time. Squeeze the core. Hold. And come back. Good. Come back to our downward facing dog. We're going to bring the knees down. Exhale, round into the back. Inhale, arch. Roll the shoulders, look up. Good, come back to a neutral spine. We'll walk the hands forward, keep the hips over the knees. Let the chest melt down. Big deep breath here through the nose. Allow the breath to travel down into the belly again. Feel the body relaxing now. Feel the heart rate slowing. You've done really well today. These little short and sweet practices with consistency build up a lot over time. And gently we'll roll up. Bring the hands back. We'll lift up both toes. Let both feet come to the left. Look over the left shoulder. Inhale back to center and over to the right. Good. Back to center, over to the left. And this time we'll gently release the hips to the mat. Really good. Bring the feet forward. And the last exercise we're going to do is boat pose. Great core activation exercise. We'll lean back on the legs. We can hold behind the thighs. We can keep the shoulders relaxed. Drawing down the back. Squeeze in the core and lift up the feet. Big deep breaths here through the nose. Pointing the toes. Breathing deeply. Option to keep the hands here or to have the hands out to the side. Going to hold here for 10 more seconds. Focus on the breath. Focus on the core activation here. Squeeze the belly button in. Breathing through the nose. And then gently we're going to release down. Really with control if we can. All the way down to the ground. Good. Resting the head. Resting the hands below the belly button. Feel the shoulders relax. Take a few deep breaths here. Feeling the blood pumping around the body, the heat that you've created in this practice. We'll draw the feet in. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Let the knees wiggle gently up and down. Keeping the left knee where it is, we'll draw the right knee all the way up and over to stack over the left. And then look over the right shoulder, palm facing up. We'll gently bring the right knee over and let the left knee follow. Look over the left shoulder this time, palm facing up. Gently bringing the knees over, really good. Lengthening the legs out long, palms are facing up. Finding our Shavasana. Feeling all the tension melting away from the body with every exhale. And staying here as long as you need today.